Senator Salwi, and I'm speaking for the first time today. Judges, please give me a signal when ready. The United States was founded on the principle that every state, person, and entity should be treated and represented equally. This resolution to have all the primary caucuses on the same day is an outright contradiction to this idea. It may seem to be more effective in choosing the best politician, but in reality, this impractical system is not representative of the diverse United States, and it produces candidates with no experience. Proponents of this resolution assert that one-day primaries are more effective in choosing the best candidates, but they have failed to address the fact that this resolution wouldn't be feasible in the long run. This resolution is not a new idea. Legislators have tried to pass this resolution five times in the past, failing every time for many reasons. Primarily, the current system allows states to conduct primaries that don't conflict with state-specific holidays. This wouldn't be possible with one-day primaries. In addition, in 2008, half the country had a primary on one day. Although Senator Bunzel said that the one-day primaries would be easier to schedule, Beth Chapman, Alabama Secretary of State, says it was a failure to officials, and it was named Tsunami Tuesday. And the rules were changed immediately. Imagine what would happen if the entire country held their primary on one day. Overall, this theory might look good. This idea may look good in theory, but the logistics are virtually impossible. In addition, it gives bigger states too much power. Advocates contend that the current system does not represent the nation, but this is false. The resolution actually is less representative of the United States. One-day primaries would give bigger states way too much power. If all the primaries were on one day, politicians would focus most of their campaigns on the more populated states, and thus the nation would only hear about urban issues and not the issues of smaller states. This would be catastrophic because food is grown in these smaller states, and it goes against the ideals of the founding fathers that everybody should be represented equally. Overall, the current system is more representative of the nation and produces more experienced candidates. The entire purpose of the primaries is to weed out the less experienced candidates who are only relying on money to get them through this election. Nationwide primaries would completely contradict this idea. By keeping the caucuses spread out, politicians get more experience and ensure that they have the leadership abilities that they need to lead the country. Although Morton Blackwell, Virginia Republican National Committee man, states that the resolution would give wealthy candidates a huge advantage because less affluent candidates would not have time to build their wealth and support. All in all, the current system is more feasible, more representative, and more effective in choosing the best leader of our country. Thank you, and I am now open to questions.
It's a speech of 3 minutes, 7 seconds. Questions?
Senator, in your speech, you stated that it helps you weed out the non-experienced candidates. Right now, Donald Trump is the front runner on the Republican side. Do you think he's experienced? He has no experience with foreign policies, treaties, or any of that.
Proponents of this bill state that we should do a one-day primary. How does this help to get more experienced candidates? The one-day primary is not a better solution to this problem.
Senator Doshi?
Do you have any evidence that states that this longer time span gives more experience, as you said, of candidates?
There's no evidence that the one-day primary would give any experience because they would only have to prepare for this one day, while doing a spread-out primaries, people would have to go and campaign to different states, and they would get more experience and the leadership qualities that they need to lead a nation.
Senator Bunzel?
Senator, isn't it true that Iowa and New Hampshire have budgetary power?
The solution you're stating is one-day primaries, which would give the urban and more populated states more power. So to have a more representative primaries, the solution isn't one-day primaries because politicians would only campaign in the more populated states since they only have to worry about a one-day primary.
But Senator, don't you think the more populated states represent the national demographic more in a balanced way? Like California has urban as well as rural areas.
But the issues that are being brought up in these urban states are only urban issues. While if you go to each state and campaign, you can see the issues that are coming up in these rural areas, such as the food that's being grown there and other rural problems.
Do you agree that California is the biggest producer of food?
Yes, I agree to that. But as you can see from when politicians go to campaign in California and other urban states, widely they're usually just campaigning for the urban issues.
But then they should lose because there are enough rural voters in California. There are more rural voters in California than urban voters.
Not just one state, there are other urban states that politicians would focus on more without the urban.
Okay, Senator Thomas, question?
So are you saying that it's better that Iowa and New Hampshire would get more power than Texas and California and other rural states?
I'm saying that the solution isn't one-day primaries because that would just put the power into a different set of states, which wouldn't be representative.
Thank you, Senator.